Welcome everybody to Either Serpent Tarot for another pick a card. So today's pick a card is probably a pretty heavy, serious one. So that may or may not be your cup of tea. I always want to say when that's the case, like just hear this introduction out, decide whether this is sort of something that you're in the frame of mind to interact with, whether it's helpful to you or whether it's something to put aside or whatever. Because this is all about what shadow is the external world showing you and why. So there's a lot of work one can do in shadow work within oneself, and certainly within this reading we'll look at messages of healing, focus and empowerment for you in terms of responding. But the reality is that we live in a world that is wonderful and beautiful in many ways, but also at the moment is increasingly divisive. Media, politics, socially, all of that kind of thing. And I think there's a heightened capacity for the shadow to actually manifest in our lives externally. And so this is meant to kind of highlight where that could be, what is obvious about it, what might be hidden, what you need to know effectively so that, you can, depending upon your spiritual nomenclature, put on the armor of God, put on spiritual defenses, surround yourself in high positive energy, whatever it might be that works for you. Work out who you want to connect with, who you don't want to connect with, all of that kind of thing. And so that's the idea, because I just feel at the moment that, I generally do very positive readings and one's about sort of one's gifts and all that, and I will continue to do that. But I do think at the moment readers are being called upon to also look at, I guess, the more challenging aspects of things. So that's what this reading is about, but I absolutely understand if that's not your cup of tea. It's not meant to be too negative. It's meant to be illustrative and enlightening, and then with positivity about how to deal with it. But I sort of want to say, I don't know whether I really should say trigger warning, because I really don't know what's going to come up in it. And I always film the introductions before I actually film the readings. But I would definitely say that know that that's the case. Know that I will be trying to accentuate the positive and strengthening aspects of this, and where knowledge is power, but we will be looking at shadow issues. Hence why the deck that I have here for the choice is the Lilith and the Machine Oracle, and that is an oracle about shadow energy primarily. So for the choice, there is what would be almost the outer shadow energy that you might be experiencing or relate to. That's how I'd suggest you make your choice, unless you feel drawn to more than one, or you always go to pile 3 or whatever, which is, of course, do what you do if that's the case. There's also a second card from the deck, which is the more hidden aspect of the shadow that you're dealing with, because quite often when we deal with shadow, it may not initially seem like that, or it may seem like it's one sort of thing and then underneath it there's a different thing. It could be an insecurity on somebody's part. It could be something by design that we're being led into, and so responding to it as shadow rather than kind of deflecting it may be a trap. So we're looking at the visible and the hidden, and I've also got the Emotive Expressions Oracle here too, to also show kind of almost the face of it that you see at the moment and the face underneath it. And sometimes the face underneath it mightn't be a problem at all. It might be just understanding the shadow comes from a place of vulnerability of one or more people around you. So we'll see what comes out. So with that introduction, to help with the choices, I say, this is meant to kind of give a bit of an indication about the energy or area in which shadow could be coming up. So for pile number 1, we have the crossroads. For pile number 2, we have the bound, and for pile number 3 we have the web. So if those images or concepts draw to you, that may help you choose. Do whatever you want to do, but when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, the timestamps are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So this is interesting. Of all of the 3 to start with in terms of the way in, the crossroads to me, which in this deck talks about opportunity, indecision and influence, felt like the least overtly shadow-like of the lot. The underneath energy here, we have the trial, which talks about struggle, despair, and exhaustion. Suggests that there is a kind of an issue around whether to take on an opportunity, whether to make a choice in a crossroads to go to something, and an underneath sort of energy of maybe it won't work out. But it is interesting here where the two expressions, the opportunity seems to be what's coming towards you seems to be enthusiastic, and the trial or the exhaustion seems to be surprised and again happy. So as I said, the interesting thing about this is that the shadow may not actually be in and of itself dark. There's two ways of reading this. One may be that it's actually what's coming to you is an opportunity that in many ways what is being offered to you is not going to be a shadow thing, but it's almost like maybe you've had other opportunities and you're kind of wary. So this opportunity comes along and you think, underneath this is going to be a demand. It's going to be a trial. It's going to be hard to keep my head above water, literally. And like, yeah, the person who's offering it goes, it's going to be great. It's going to be great, but I don't believe them. So that's one thing. And maybe you shouldn't. We'll see with the cards, because sometimes someone might tell you this is a wonderful thing for you because they want you to go and do it so that they don't have to do it or something like that. But I actually wonder whether this is a sign that and there's also toxic positivity. So there's a possibility that someone's asking or people are coming to you to take on an opportunity and do all the work to make them feel excited and able to do things, and they're not necessarily seeing what you're putting into it. So we'll see with tarot what we get around this in more detail. But it is possible with this one that an opportunity you feel is a shadow because either where it's come from has normally been a trial or difficult, and you don't really trust the enthusiasm. You feel like you're being shown propaganda or something like that. Or you might be being shown propaganda in some way. So what we're going to do with the tarot is we're going to look at a little bit more about what is the shadow, like what is it that you're dealing with here, which seems to be around a choice and whether it's a choice worth taking. We're then going to look at the sort of like healing, what parts of this and what parts of the shadow needs healing in the world, like what's going on in the world that is bringing this up as a shadow, or you're responding to it like a shadow. So I'm kind of like, so one thing is what it is for you, then why in the world are you responding to it like it's a shadow, or would you respond to it like it's a shadow? And then what can actually be worthwhile looking at this and engaging with it for you that helps with your healing in some way. So as I say, this is something coming to you. The point of this reading is something that's coming towards you. But I feel like there's a history to you doubting the apparent good of it. And that may be a very good instinct, because it may be that you're being kind of beguiled into doing something that others don't want to have to do. So it's sort of passing the buck. Or it could be that this is actually good, but there's been so much shadow, you've got to kind of work out whether you can trust it or not. So let's get a little bit more idea. What is the shadow energy around this? Two of Cups, Ace of Cups reversed, Six of Cups. Gee, it's emotional. It's not surprising with the water energy there. Justice reversed, Five of Coins reversed, Queen of Swords. Okay. I think you've been a bit burnt, actually. So I'm not saying you're wrong. It could well be that this is kind of a too good to be true thing and you kind of can sense what's coming. But I actually think the energy of wherever this is coming from, wherever the offer is coming from, the opportunity is coming from, it actually is coming from a good place. And it's offering you a shift, a different energy to things in the past. But boy, either it's coming from people who have taken advantage of you before, or situations that have taken advantage of you before. Or as I say, it feels almost like it's too much. Like it could be that it's actually a new love. It could be for you it's a new love coming in, and it could be this person just seems to be completely besotted and like really, and like it's genuine for them if that's the case. They are like, wow, you're the one or whatever, but you're thinking, oh yeah, okay, when I make that decision then it all gets really complicated. There's sort of something where there's a shift from the past, so you're responding, you're kind of suppressing that energy because you don't trust it because of things in the past. Things have not worked out in the past. Things have not been what they appeared. There's been something unjust about it. As I say, you could have been expected to take something on that wasn't true. And you've kind of done it to fit in with people. So you're very wary. And you're kind of giving yourself a hard time about it. It's sort of like, oh, am I going to be, it's, that's that statement that go, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I feel like you feel that a bit, but I don't know. My feeling is that this is actually This does offer something good. It doesn't necessarily mean it isn't something that won't have its trials or its challenges. That is possible. But I feel like the energy, there's not a dissonance in the energy between what's being shown to you kind of in expression internally and externally with this. So I feel like you're wary, but I don't think that's a problem. I think it's reasonable to be wary, but like maybe this is asking you to understand the shadow in the world and where people take advantage and where they have. It doesn't always have to be that. Go in. It's like trust but verify, as they say, is what I feel this is kind of talking about. So what in the world needs healing? What shadow energy in the world are you responding to that's making you feel this is a shadow? Five of Wands, Eight of Swords, Six of Swords, Knight of Wands. Wow, okay. I think that you have found when things appeared to be really good and opportunities appeared to be really good, you ended up in the middle of conflict that you didn't expect, and you weren't able to move or do a lot with it. I think you're responding to an opportunity, whether it's a work opportunity, a relationship, or whatever it is. And because you have been burnt, when you've gone in, you're actually really good at dealing with the conflict. You're actually really good at finding peace within conflict. And I think you're a bit over it, to be honest. And I can understand that. I worked for years in conflict. Sometimes you do need to kind of get a bit of a break from it. But I feel like that's the energy there. So you're seeing in the world that there's just all this petty stuff. I think that's what you sort of feel. It's petty. And you want to move away, as far away from it as you can. You want to do something different. You want to do something that's more creative and more, you feel like more aligned to your destiny. I think you feel like you're responsive, and you're responsive because people give you this opportunity and they get enthusiastic because they can see you're the one who can do it. But it's like, this isn't something you necessarily want to do. So it's the shadow of conflict in the world that's got stuck, and your energy to find the way through is drawing you in again, and you're kind of like going, oh God, yes, you might be genuine, but like, I don't know that I want to do that. It's like you want to move away from it. And, I don't think you have to do it. I think that's up to you. I think you're good at it, so you do it pretty quickly. And I don't think it necessarily comes from a bad place in those that want to ask for your help, give you the opportunity or whatever. But I think it's a genuine thing to go. Just because you can do something, does that mean you absolutely should? You may want to actually head not into yet again trying to keep everybody's head above water in conflict so that they feel comfortable, to going into something that's more about creating a new way of being that doesn't end up there. So it's sort of like the difference between dealing with the conflict in situ or dealing with the root cause of the conflict. So I think that might be what's going on here. So how can thinking this through and deciding what to do with the shadow, how can that heal you or give you a direction and help with the choice? Because it's really about choice for you. Star reversed, Queen of Wands reversed, the Lovers reversed. Wow, Four of Wands reversed. Like everything's reversed. Okay. This is an internal choice. I think, to me, the four reversals there very much say this is something you can choose. It's an external opportunity and an external potential shadow, but what you do with it or not depends on you. I think that Spirit is saying, yes, it's not your destiny to just always be the person who resolves the issues. That is denying some of what you could self-actualize in. You are, with the Wands cards, like the Knight of Wands upright here and then Queen of Wands reversed here, you're actually more creative in some way. You don't have to be like a singer or a writer or a painter. Creative can be creative solutions, creative social things, or whatever it might be. But it's saying that this is giving you an opportunity to decide what you want to do as opposed to what other people recognize or don't recognize in you. So this is like, it's sort of like being recognized by others and doing what they want is probably not doing what you really want to do. So to recognize yourself and to start to be recognized for all that you can do, maybe this is an opportunity you pass on. But if you do it, recognize it's not coming from a bad place. People come to you because you can do it, but it's not all you can do. So I think that the external world is showing you this shadow to get you a bit out of a rut, to be honest, to get you out of thinking this is all you are, because you are much more than that. Not that there's anything wrong with people who can do, bring peace and so forth. That's a wonderful thing. But as I say, you're more somebody who should be working strategically on the root causes, not just kind of putting the Band-Aid on after the wounds occurred. So that's the energy I'm seeing. So, okay, so if you are getting that, the shadow you get is people trying to demand you to deal with the shadow, really, because you're good at it. What are a couple of messages of healing, focus, and empowerment for you? So this might show particular areas this is happening in, or even surprising things within you that kind of set you up to take on this role. So we'll just see what we get. So the first area of healing for you, pile one. Trust, yeah. Trust in yourself. Trust in others. There is a big trust thing here. I think that overall, people are coming to you not in an exploitive way, but in a appreciative way. But as I say, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you want to do. But like you're not sure. But there's also the trust to let yourself jump out of the thing, do the parachute thing, to like fly in the way that you're meant to fly. So there's something about trusting what's happening that you need to heal. What's a way to focus that? Games, okay. You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of game theory, because that's a problem-solving technique as much as anything else. And it is something that's used a lot in sort of social sort of situations and so forth, like political situations, etc. It's like trying to make it less emotional and more like, this is a game. This is sort of like, if I'm going to have people come to me for this, and I'm going to kind of try and enjoy it and not see it as something that is going to kind of like encompass me. And like, it's almost like maybe this creative thing is like almost thinking of how to make it a game, how to do that. So what's a measure on empowerment for you? Or what's a message around that? Do not mistake sensory overload for true love. Okay. Okay, so the other possibility with the focus with games or whatever is the sort of thing where someone is trying to beguile you a bit. Now, I don't think, by and large, the cards aren't really saying that they're being dishonest with it, but it could be that someone is almost flattering you as a game to get you to do something, whether it's in true love, or whether it's just that, as I say, it's kind of easier for them if you do it rather than them. So I think there's a dual message here. I think one is get a little bit distant from it and don't feel like this is like you have to kind of be selfless to everybody. Make it a little bit more of a game and just trust in yourself. But the other one is, for some of you, there could be a little bit of beguiling operating. Okay, let's see the second area of healing that could be offered to you by the shadow coming from the external world at the moment. Money matters. Okay, and some of this might be, are you going to be paid your worth for this? Or are you going to be materially compensated, even if it isn't in like literally money, or whether it's like in like just a balance? Like, is it fair? Is this reciprocal? Or are you taking on more than you should? Are people really enthusiastic because, you'll do it? My mother always used to say, beware the person who says, oh, you're so good at it, because it usually is that they want you to do it rather than them. So make sure if you are doing something, particularly materially, that you get your worth. Your worth should be seen in this. So what's a focus around it? Community, okay. So what communities, what connections, where can you bring this where your value is recognised? Because there is a possibility here that your value isn't being recognised. It's just convenient. So connecting with the right people who are legitimate and who value what you do is important. And maybe you need to put a price on it, like maybe that's an important thing to do. What's a message of empowerment for you? Bring the light from within you to the surface to shine. So I think this is actually the creative light, and this is the more than just responding to and dealing with other people's rubbish line. I just feel like you're being weighed down by other things because, as I say, you're good at it. But if you flip it and you make it, I'm going to be valued for that wands energy, where I shine, what I can do, what I can create, not just what I respond to. I think that's the primary message for you at the moment, pile one. Okay. So let's get Astro Dice, and we're going to ask firstly a little bit more about the shadow energy that you're experiencing, anything about and this is from the perspective of those who are bringing it to you. We'll roll it twice to get a bit more understanding about that, and then we'll see how you can best balance it, and we'll roll it twice for that. So first thing to also describe what's going on with seventh house. So your relationship has a lot to do with this. For some of you, it is about relationship and getting the right relationship and making the right choice. Virgo is about service to others, integration, healthy relationships with Mars, healthy action. Action speaks louder than words. And it is also about maybe bringing integrated energy around this. This is you being the peacekeeper. So there is a genuine thing here where you are seen as the one who can integrate and make relationships more healthy. But there is a little bit of an aggressive energy underneath it. So you have to make sure that's not directed at you. Like you've got to do this, that's, you might get aggression if you go, no, I choose not to do it. And we get the sun in Gemini, so communication in the 8th house. Okay, all right, okay. So the shadow energy that's coming to you, part of it is that it is calling upon your sense of honor, integration and service to others, and the fact that you're really good at it. But there is an aggressive undertow to it. And here, it's coming from the 8th house, so there's a lot of subterranean energy to it. It's trying to tell you what your life path is. It's like Gemini communicating and with the sun. So I think that the reason it's a shadow is not that there is actually any harm meant. I think that where it's going, they genuinely think that, but I think it's limiting you too much. So therefore, what do you do in response? So we have the South Node. You've got to move away from something. Yeah, Gemini, the communication that is not accurate. Yeah, you move away from communication that is not philosophically accurate and you get to root causes again. Ninth house is like, what's the philosophy underneath this? How do we expand a situation? How do you expand your role? Communicate that shift. It's like, I'm happy to help, but I really want to be in the space of solutions generating to stop this from happening, not just coming in and fixing it when it does. And we have Cancer. So you have an innately caring energy. And the 6th house, you do want to help others. So this is part of the hook for you. Venus, you have a great heart. So I think that you can recalibrate this. You are exceptionally good at helping people deal with, conflict and getting stuck and all of that sort of stuff. And it is part of what you can do, but you can do more. And I think that you show a greater sort of sense, particularly with community and light, to want to help and serve others, but do it from the heart, not just from that Martian energy of conflict management. And that kind of makes sense to me. It's like, instead of just being the person who comes in to lower the temperature, you want to be and should be in the space of creating almost the philosophy and the environment that is more caring in the first place. So it's like shifting the focus. That's what this is meant to be about for you. So the opportunity is coming up again and you've seen it again and you're not really wrong. You're going to end up there if you just do the same thing. But this is saying you can shift it just a bit. Okay, so to finish off, I just want to get you a message from the Boho Spirit Oracle, which tends to be, more often than not, much more light in its energy. So I just wanted to finish with a light sort of energy. Choose a number between 1 and 5 because I'm just going to deal them out, and whatever number you choose is your integrated message to deal with this shadow energy that's coming to you from the external world. So number 1, share your magical gifts. Number 2, it's all energy and expression. Number 3, give or receive healing energy. Number 4, magic in motion. And number 5, call on your guides for help. Okay, so if you chose number 1, this is about, you do have gifts. You have gifts in this space, and like going to what is the magic of that and how would you want to share it is more important than just responsive. Sharing your magical gifts feels more proactive. This is like pushing you always into reactive. Go into proactive. If you chose number 2, it's all energy and expression. I think it's saying, look, nobody means harm here. Energy and expression is going on. People have seen you be able to deal with this. They go to you for a reason. There's a genuine belief in you. But energy and expression starting to shift people to see that, as I say, the root cause of something is going to be much more powerful. If you chose number 3, I think there's a period of time you're going to be here to even get to the point of those you're around understanding that you want to work out the solution as well. It's almost like it's got to a point where you have to deal with healing. You have to give healing to the situation. So it's saying also seek where you can get healing as well so that you don't feel like you're about to go underwater. If you chose number 4, this is all about passing this on. Like it's like, I think in fact it's showing them how to do something so they can move forward. So your creative thing is not necessarily creating a new environment necessarily. It's actually passing on the skills and then passing on the responsibility. Mentor somebody, coach somebody. There will be someone around this who could actually learn how to do this. You don't have to constantly do it, pile 1. And if you chose number 5, call on your guides for help, then again, I think these two, number 3 and number 5, are where you are definitely kind of going to have to go through that again to get to the point of doing something else. But it's saying that you have strong spiritual guidance to support you. So I hope that resonated for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I just realized they probably can't see what it's saying. Hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope it resonated for you. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the bound. So it says ensnared, captive and burdened. So that's what the shadow energy that's coming to you that's very obvious. So this is either someone coming to you who's claiming to be in that situation, maybe looking for you to help, or it could be a group of people or a situation where you feel that's going on. You could feel that you are bound by something external and it's making it very hard for you to be free and do what you want. So there's something here about a lack of choice. Being, meeting something in the external that you have to meet that you can't really escape, or someone who is claiming that and looking for your help, and that could be very true. What is underneath is the unconscious. This talks about memory, urges, and aggression. So those two put together, when we're talking about shadow coming at you, is probably someone or a situation where I actually think there's a kind of a denial energy going on, particularly when I look at this is the energy you're seeing at your face and this is what's really going on underneath. This looks to me like this feels like you're coming across a kind of victim energy, not yours. It's someone coming to you with this. And on one hand, they're trying to make out that they're happy in the service in a way. They're happy to, or they're able to do it and they're on top of it and it's all fine. But like there's a lot of dislike operating under here. And it doesn't mean it's necessarily dislike to you, but there's a kind of a disdain. There's almost a sense that you're meeting a situation where people are almost, one or more people are kind of wearing as a badge of honor some grievance. But equally, underneath, there's a lot of anger. Now, this doesn't mean it's necessarily directed to you. It could be, though. So if this was a situation where someone is making out they're doing, like like there's someone working for you, for instance. This could be like, let's put it in that way. Say you were a boss and this is someone who's working for you and they're kind of like making out they're fine. They're going along with it. Everything's fine. But they actually are feeling really angry because they feel like they have to do what you say and they don't want to do it. Underneath this is the energy. So it could be directed at you, or it could be that this is just someone who's got caught up in a situation where in a weird way they almost enjoy feeling like a victim, but on the other hand, they're very angry about it. So depends on the situation. So let's see what we get with tarot. Let's ask firstly a bit more about, what is the external shadow, just like what is this about, to try and work out whether this is something that's directed completely at you on a personal level or whether it's a little bit more transpersonal. And then secondly, we're going to look at what does this show needs healing, like what does this shadow energy show needs healing. And it may be, I think it's in the personal people that are presented to you. I don't think it's in you, but you may just need to know if they are seeing you as part of it or something like that. And then how does knowing that help you heal or protect you as well? So let's just look at it a little bit more. Page of Wands reversed. 8 of Swords reversed. 7 of Wands reversed. Knight of Coins. 4 of Cups. Judgment. Wow. Okay. I feel like this is more transpersonal. I don't think for most of you though, if you know this energy, if you're having somebody coming towards you who's kind of like making it like who has some responsibility to you, I think, or who could claim that you're kind of ruling the roost or whatever, and this energy is going on, you need to know that energy is going on underneath it. But I think this is a little bit more transpersonal. I think you're in a situation, or you're adjacent to a situation or whatever, or you're seeing it. Maybe you're just seeing it online and you're seeing it play out and it's frustrating you. But like, because it could be anything with external shadow. But I feel like it's more transpersonal. I feel like there's something about material outcomes and karma and shifting old patterns and like the consequences of choices. Because this looks to me like someone who, or an energy that wants to be freed from a battle and a cause almost. Like it feels to me like what you're seeing is sort of someone who feels like they've kind of like, whether it's made a karmic vow, someone or some people made a karmic vow or a work vow or a political vow or whatever, and they're feeling increasingly trapped in it, and they're getting really angry, and they're like it's like losing religion. It's like losing what is going on. So they're angry. They're angry to be bound, but they feel like they can't show it. But like the undercurrent is really aggressive and angry. But to your face or to the face of other people, they show, no, everything's fine, it's good, everything's good. Like it kind of feels like, if you're in the political world that we're in at the moment, it would be like two people from, two sides of the political spectrum sitting down. And one of them is going, no, everything's good. I'm all about love. It's all good. But there is a huge resentment underneath it. And they feel like the other side, for whatever reason, is putting them in a really very difficult situation. And there's a lot of anger underneath it. But it's like, it's almost like living into the victim thing rather than living into the result, and it's feeling like it's my virtue that's put me in this situation, and now I'm trapped and I want to be free of it. So there's an interesting dynamic going on here in whatever way it's playing out. This would be tricky if there's someone who's working for you or with you. If it's a political thing, it's probably just seeing the energy that's going on at the moment. It's understanding that underneath what seems to be a cry of victimhood is an actual lot of anger. And it may be justified. It's not saying that the shadow is necessarily unjustified. Depends on the situation. Okay, so what is this showing that needs to be healed in the world? What is you seeing this shadow actually showing? Eight of Coins reversed. Knight of Cups. Three of Wands reversed. Three of Swords. Nine of Swords. There is something that needs to be released here. This feels like, it really feels like you're coming across one or more people who kind of almost karmically or spiritually or politically or socially felt bound to something, and they really do need to release from it because it's not really their path anymore. But it's almost like they were seduced into it by someone who was very good at seducing people into something. So maybe the real energy I'm seeing here is sort of someone who originally came into some sort of job, some sort of cause or whatever, and really did believe it. And then they just got so trapped in it that it started to wound them, but they can't get free of it because maybe they're afraid they're going to end up with the disdain and they're going to become the enemy, or they're going to get, sort of cancelled or whatever it might be. But there's a seductive energy here that traps. Like you're seeing a seductive energy that's trapping people into the wrong direction, whatever that means. And it'll depend on the situation. So separation from it relieves the energy. It's like, it's a mental thing as much as anything else. It's a belief structure thing. Like all of these bindings could be undone and the anger could go if they just separate it out. I think you're dealing with someone who needs to leave something. And they did originally really believe in it, and they're probably trying to still show that they are, but like the reality is it's getting really corrosive for them. I think And I think you can see it. That's why it's happening. And this is why you can see the seduction of it. So it's like how you help them. That's why this is coming to you. So how does this also heal you? Or what do you need to stay healed or safe in this energy? Because this energy is tricky. Sometimes it's like, it's like that saying that like it's easier to fool someone than to convince them they were fooled. It's that, and I'm not saying this person was a fool. I just think they were seduced into something that, and I don't think it's you. It's not you. It's someone that you're seeing. I think it's someone you want to help. But they might also see you as the enemy because they've been seduced into something, and they might then project that out on you when in actual fact, if they were free of that, they could free themselves. So why is this happening to you? What healing for you is being offered? Hierophant reversed, Justice reversed, Six of Swords, Queen of Wands reversed. Yeah, this is karmic. Like there's something, this has come over lifetimes. It may well be playing out, as I say, this looks very social or political or something like that. Or in the media maybe. But like the reality about this is that this is all about liberating to be able to think differently than the group, and the injustice of people trying to stop that so that people can move forward and they can find out who they are rather than just being part of a group. It's almost like a liberation from groupthink, actually. And I think you're seeing this in someone who's at the precipice of going, I need to be free and liberated. And they're getting angry. So I think it's sort of like you're seeing the anger. You're seeing the dissonance between the propaganda, the the recruitment program or whatever, and what actually happens. But this is the people involved in this and the people that you're seeing, and to whatever degree, I think you are involved to witness it and maybe help. It's not that you necessarily need to be freed from this, I don't think. I think someone else around you, but you can see it more clearly because they were seduced into it, and now it's hard. It's like hard to get out of that. So, and you're gentle enough to do it as well. Okay. So given that, what do you need to be aware of and not, like healing for you? What surprising healing, focus and empowerment do you get from witnessing this and working with it? And this could be surprising, or it could give us some other ideas about what's actually going on, or it could be kind of explaining what it's meant to show you as well too, because it could be that it's coming to you partly because you can see this clearly enough to free them, but there might be things that you don't see clearly enough until you start to apply the same principle and work out, have I been bound up in beliefs that are no longer serving me as well too? So let's just see the first of two healing areas. Competition. Okay. It's possible the person or people involved in this that you're seeing have been in competition with you, or they're in competition with each other. Or it's triggering that in you. It's like who's right and who's wrong. So it's making you kind of look at that. And if you're seeing how this has trapped someone else, you're thinking about how it might have trapped you. What's a focus energy around that to help work that through? Plants. Okay, getting back to nature, making it simple, making it not about people too, making it about nourishment and nurturing and all those sort of things, but without the kind of people element almost. What's a message of empowerment? Anything forced will not have good or happy consequences. So you can't force them to be free or force them to see. Maybe all you can do is, maybe the plants thing there is actually saying, if part of this too is that you're dealing with this energy with someone and it's hard for you to even help them because they're in competition with you. And if you were to point out they got caught in something, they're going to get even more caught because they don't want to admit it. So it may be that instead of that, who's right or who's wrong, the issue more is what is a growthful, healthy thing to do. So focus more on that. Okay, and then what other healing energy is there potentially for you in seeing this shadow? Family patterns. Okay, that's interesting with competition. They often go hand in hand. This could be someone in your family. Or it could be that you can recognize this because you've seen it in family patterns. What have you kind of inculcated without even realizing it? When you see it in someone else and how they've got trapped in something, maybe it also opens up for you understandings where you've trapped yourself. What's a focus to help with that. Nutrition. Gee, there's something about what is healthy. What is healthy and nutritious rather than what is just a repeating pattern, because there is some sort of karmic thing here and the competition. So an empowerment message. An open mind and willingness to entertain new ideas repel stagnancy and lack of growth. And that's all about growth as well too. So being open to new things. Again, maybe showing it rather than arguing it. Because I feel like this could be pointing to there's something. There's either maybe this is a family member you're seeing this with. It's a soul family member with all the spiritual stuff. Or there's just patterns you've seen of this and you kind of know that you can't. It's almost like you're the last person they'll listen to because they're actually in competition with you. But on the other hand, if you maybe just do something they could kind of mimic without admitting they are mimicking it, maybe you help them that way and you also help yourself. It's a complicated one. It's a tricky one. So let's get a little bit more astrological energy. So I'm going to roll the astro dice twice to get a bit more of an idea of the perspective of wherever this shadow is coming from, the personal people that this is coming from. And then I'm going to roll the dice twice to get more about what you can do to either help them or protect yourself from the shadow energy. So firstly, another descriptor of this shadow energy coming towards you. Okay, so we have Mars. There's aggression. There's competition. The 10th house around who you are in the world, power in the world, and so forth in Gemini. Okay, so there could be a two-faced attitude to this, and that's kind of two-faced, the sort of supposedly happy and then there's a resentment underneath. It's probably playing out in some sort of world power situation, so a workplace, a career, socially, politically, something like that. Probably more political or business than social, actually. People would probably be the 11th house if it was social. But look for double speak, because there's double speak and it's hiding the aggression. And again, it may not be directed at you, but if you do think the person could be in competition with you and you want to help, then you're going to have to be aware there's a lot of that anger going on. You've got to be very careful. What else is going on? We have Uranus, okay, in Leo, fiery energy, in the first house. This person definitely wants to be liberated. This is like who they are is mattering here. And I think there'll be a flashpoint where it comes to the surface. So be aware of that. Okay, for you, what to do. 11th house, so social energy there, Aries. Initiate new connections, move away from connections that are not working. For some of you, you're going to have to move away from this person because even if you do, all these people, because even if you do want to help, I don't know that you can. On another way, it's like instead of directly dealing with that, look into the social network, social media or whatever to initiate a change and a shift that helps liberate you and others without you being overtly doing it for them. Secondly, have Jupiter, which is benefic and kind, third house, kind communication, Virgo. Yeah, this is it. This is why we've got the nutrition. I kind of thought when I saw plants and nutrition, I thought, I wonder whether we'll get Virgo. Virgo is about what is healthful, what is integrated. Integrate kindness into communication. Because there's something about this energy that doesn't feel very kind. And I don't actually think, by and large, for most of you, that it's actually directed at you. But I think the problem might be that this person doesn't want to indicate that they've got trapped. And so if you do it head on, they're going to just bite back because they'll feel like you're telling them that they were a fool. But if you demonstrate something different and something kind and you're just sort of there as a friend, that kind of energy may work better for you. Okay. It's pretty heavy. I thought it could be heavy. So what we're going to do to finish up is that we're going to use the Boho Spirit Oracle, which tends to be more light oriented. I wanted a message of light energy to sort of finish off so that you can use that to help deal with the shadow. So choose a number between 1 and 5, and depending upon which one you choose, that's going to be your message. Pause now if you need to, because I'm about to deal out. So for number 1, hidden influences at play. Number 2, be alert and unpredictable. Number 3, activate your inner sight. Number 4, rise above it. And number 5, It's complicated. Gee, even looking for the lighter energy in this, we get some pretty interesting synthesis. So if you chose number one, there's stuff you don't know going on with this. And again, that's sort of tread lightly, be kind, mirror a better way of doing things, but don't try and hit it head on, because there's stuff you don't even know that's going on. And some of it could be karmic. So just tread lightly. And it may be, as I say, they're showing a face to you of friendliness, but they're actually really competitive with you, and you may not have known that. So you need to be aware of that if that's the case. If you chose number two, it says be alert and unpredictable. So because there's that Uranian energy around them, I think it's really important to almost meet it with the same sort of energy. You're kind of aware of what's going on. You'll respond when you respond. Be ready to shift or pivot at any moment. If you chose number three, activate your inner sight, there's a telepathic connection here. You can really understand this better if you go within. This is not an energy to openly discuss it with them, I don't think. It's like go within, understand, empathize, and then present something different. If you chose number four, I don't think this has really much to do with you, but you're just seeing it, and it's just saying kind of like try to rise above it and not be involved, because otherwise you get drawn into this competitive stuff that is not helpful. And if you chose number five, it's complicated. Well, yeah, it is complicated. Like there's no good or bad in this, I don't think. Even if the person's gone into a victim mentality, it's not entirely untrue. It's just that they've maybe kind of got seduced into that, and they're just, they're festering now. And your relationship with them is somehow, it would be difficult for you to be the person to help them. Maybe because you're a member of their family for some of you, and there might be kind of sibling rivalry or that kind of thing. But I just think this is a complicated one. I feel like the best way of dealing with it is to try and demonstrate a healthy way of being in a situation and being true to oneself. That's all you can really do, I think, in this, and not to get drawn into it, because otherwise you're drawn into the anger and you can become a lightning rod for it. So I hope that resonates. I hope it was helpful. It's pretty heavy. If it did, and if it did help and it was resonant, or you enjoyed it, then please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3. So you came to the web, which talks about destiny, connections, and habits. So the sort of face of this shadow has something to do with being caught in something, and probably the destined connections, things that keep repeating, or habits that people are doing that maybe bring this around or entrap them in some way. So there's an energy of entrapment, and also an energy of inescapability operating around this. Whatever this situation is, and and remember, this is external. This is not you. It's external stuff that you're seeing, experiencing, having brought to you, watching from afar and hoping you could help, whatever it may be. But it's an important energy to look at that's external. There is one or more people who feel unavoidably either connected to you or connected to something that is causing a shadow that you're seeing, and it's creating this habitual energy. And I think that part of it is about resolving something where they feel not connected or they feel rejected, because the underlying energy of the shadow is the outcast, forsaken, rejected sinner. So I feel as though, some of this could be karmic. It could be a shadow of somebody where you or others rejected them, or where you were both considered to be heretical at some point and you're connecting with that shadow because someone else is dealing with it. Or you're seeing someone who has been outcast from a group, has been seen as no longer following what they're supposed to do, according to the group. And a lot of this was triggered by things like stuff that's going on in politics. Is one of the reasons why I was doing this, and this kind of like tribal mentality that we're seeing on both sides and so forth. So it could be something like that, where someone is now seen to have crossed the line in a way that's not acceptable, and they're now outcast. And it sort of seems to be it's showing you something that's almost inescapable, like that there's a kind of a web. You get caught in the web, and then you can't really escape it, and you're seeing that. What you're seeing too, the outer side of this is quite angry. Whoever it is, or whoever the people are, they're expressing a certain degree of anger and frustration. They do feel both of those things, and I think they're quite open about it. So they're likely to be expressing it. Whether they're angry with you or they're angry with the situation, you could be sort of someone who is like a lawyer and somebody's come to you and said, I've just been fired for having an opinion that you know, I'm not supposed to have, for instance, or something like that. You could literally, it could be coming to you from somebody who is aggrieved for this sort of reason, but it's obvious. It's obvious to you anyway. It's not hidden. And underneath it, there's almost a feeling of exhaustion, detachment, and almost separating from reality just to deal with it. Like for some reason, I sort of look at that, and I don't know why I think of it, but I think of like someone like the poet Rimbaud, Rimbaud. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. A kind of very different sort of poet, very different sort of energy that feels almost like that. It almost feels Byronic, like it feels sort of dissolute in a way, but also detached, exhausted. So it seems angry, but it's also like almost, I think one of the things is that this energy is coming to you because it's seeking something to stop it from just giving up. So I think it's an energy where you're being asked to help in some way. As I say, it could be legally, it could be socially, it could be emotionally, but there's something like that. I don't think it's angry at you. If it is angry at you, it's someone who wants something from you that you're not probably going to give them because it's like it's not the right connection. But I think for the most part, this is something more external than that, and it's someone who feels that they've been trapped in something and then rejected. So let's see a little bit more about it. So we're going to start with tarot with a little bit more about what the shadow is. Then we're going to look at how it could be potentially healed, and then we're going to look at what you could heal within yourself in sort of recognizing this as well, even though it's external. So a little bit more about what's actually going on. King of Swords reversed, King of Coins upright, Knight of Swords reversed, the Magician, oh wow, reversed, the Chariot, Six of Wands reversed. Okay, I think for the most part this feels like something, as I say, like being sacked in a job for suddenly not having the right opinion, or being excluded from a group for really illegitimate reasons. Like there is something going on with this. I think you would probably be seeing this and you would be on the side of the person, because this looks to me like something really wrong has happened. And it's from a very established power base, and it's probably material. And I think this Knight of Swords is this energy. I think it's like the kind of almost exhaustion. The fire in this person has gone out because something really wrong has happened. This is an injustice. You're seeing an injustice. Absolutely. And the energy of this shadow, it wants to kind of get back on track, but it's like it can't seem to find anybody who will agree. It feels like it's like nobody will take my case. Nobody will understand me. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a lawyer for this, taking on a case, but it's like you're seeing something that's really wrong, and it's really well established, but it's not honest. So of all the ones, this is sort of something where it's very obvious that something wrong has happened. The shadow that you're seeing a victim of it. So, okay, so what could be healed in this? Ten of Coins reversed, Two of Wands, Page of Cups, the Empress. Whew. This is big, actually. Major change has to occur. So whatever this situation is, whether it's a workplace where there's been something wrong, whether it's a political group or social group where there's been a lot of lies and propaganda and people have been outcast if they dared to speak the truth or be honest, like this is a corrupt situation at the edge of its dissolution, but it's still strong. People need to see this, because the problem could be that it gets lost and it doesn't happen. So the healing requires a major reckoning, and it needs to be stewarded by a caring energy. You're a caring energy. This is why you're seeing it. Something has to fall because it's corrupt. It's wrong. a new direction, a new choice has to be made that is more from the heart and is more nurturing. So I think you're seeing this shadow for a reason because there's something that you can do, like whether it's absolutely direct, you take on a case or something like that, or whether it's just that your influence and seeing this and hearing the person and so forth begins a switch of this that begins to unravel the web, makes it possible to actually have somebody they can talk to or something like that. Okay, so what's healing in it for you, or what protects you while this is going on? Sun reversed, Eight of Wands reversed, the World, Three of Wands reversed. Okay. One of the things that protects you is that whatever this is happening in, it's either not your workplace or your political group or your social group or whatever. It's like you're not actually directly involved in this. You are coming into it through observation. And you're able to slow things down enough to get to the core of this and to see what really is going on, and also to take something across the finish line. You can see actually how close it is to this. It's almost like, I almost feel like it's almost like you can kind of stem the blood flow so that basically no more blood is lost, so that basically, I'm not saying literally, it's sort of metaphorically, something can be completed in a good way. But it's partly because you're not involved. It's like you have the capacity to look at this and speak for it or do something because you're not involved. It's almost as though if you were involved, you could be easily isolated in the same way as this person or people have been. So you can't be vilified and you can't be accused of, something corrupt, because this is a very corrupt situation, and it is very good, I would say, at projecting the corruption out to others. But you have to have a vested interest to be seen as corrupt, and you don't. So it's like you can complete the cycle. You can bring it to what it needs to be in some way. So it's more like a journalist or something who sees something corrupt and actually reports it, like that kind of thing. Okay. So let's look at things for you. I mean, if you're dealing with this shadow coming to you from the external world, that might be surprising or might not be surprising in terms of healing, focus, and empowerment for you in dealing with this. So these might just show areas of your own healing or shadow that you kind of have brought to the surface in looking at this in some way. So firstly, we have inadequacy. So you might wonder, am I up to this? You are up to this, because part of the reason that you are is that you see it. But I think it's sort of, and also I think, if you were drawn into it, again, they could make you feel inadequate. They could make you feel outcast or whatever, but it's not your thing. So I think that's good. So what focus can help you feel up to dealing and helping with this in some way? Building. What can you build? Something new. Yeah, build something new. Instead of thinking about resolving the issue, it's build something else. And what's a message of empowerment for you? Allowing people their own path is a powerful way to show incredible unconditional love. Okay, so I think that you're helping people who haven't been allowed their own path. I think if you build something that provides, it's like, thinking of that Field of Dreams thing about building the playing field, and that would bring the people. And I'm not going to use the exact quote because you'll get copyright stuff if you use exact quotes, but it's kind of like that. If you can build an alternative, then that allows the path for those that have been outcast or held to be inadequate. And you're more than capable of doing this. Okay, what's the second healing area for you? Trauma. Okay. So you may have gone through this. One of the reasons you might see it and recognize it for what it is that you've gone through it. Otherwise, you may have a very good understanding of trauma and how this is operating, because this is quite a traumatic thing. Some of you may be skilled in that and educated in that in some way. But this heals something within you as well too, because if you sort of were outcast at some point, it's not happening to you right now. It's not your thing. but this helps you move through some of that. So what is the focus that helps? Discernment. Yeah, it's like understanding because it's separate to you, but you know the pattern. It gives you the discernment to see what's going on. This is a sort of situation where, as I say, the people who are corrupt are very clever. They've probably made it look like the person is, well, people are the problem, but they really aren't. And your discernment, because you've seen this sort of stuff before, is part of what works for you. What's a empowering message for you? To truly honour the source of your being, live from the flow of your heart. Yeah, this is kind of like your heart, your kindness, all of that kind of thing. We saw that before. It needs something more kind. You are naturally more kind in this situation. Okay, so to also help with a little bit more of an idea about what's going on, we're going to roll the astro dice twice for a little bit more about the shadow that you're meeting. So I don't think the shadow is behind almost a victim that you're seeing. And this is a genuine victim. This is someone who's something really wrong. So the shadow is the thing behind them. But you're seeing the shadow energy that can come from that, the anger that goes into despair and detachment. So let's have a look at a little bit more in depth about the shadow energy itself. So firstly, we have North Node in Taurus in the second house. There's something here about aiming for the life that you want, the life that they want, and what that means in terms of status or outcome. So it could well be that what's happened, as I say, someone's lost their job, they've lost their chance for a promotion, they've lost the things that would give them the chance to have the life that they wanted to build for themselves because they, were the heretic. They said what was not allowed to be said or whatever it is. So one's capacity to have a good livelihood is one of the things behind this shadow that allows the shadow to be so corrupt. Secondly, Uranus, so sudden shocks or whatever, Aquarius, that are very detached in many ways in the third house. There was a shocking communication that triggered a lot of this. So whether it's that someone said something and then, oh, you can't allowed to say that, so suddenly they became outcast, or they became outcast for something else, and then there was a shocking thing like you're fired or we don't want you in the group anymore or whatever it might be. And it's really detached. It's quite cold. There's a cold energy. That's why it came up as the King of Swords reversed. So what can you use to help with this? Seventh house, your capacity with people and relationships, the moon. You're much more intuitive, much kinder, much gentler. In Pisces, yeah, very psychic actually. You're very psychic. So you may have picked some of this up psychically. Your capacity to connect in psychically and emotionally with people is very powerful. It's part of your discernment, part of coming from the heart. And we have Pluto, major change, yeah, tower energy. And we had Uranus before, but like also Pluto in the second house in Pisces. Yeah, this is, that's interesting. It's like the shadow part of this was almost withholding from those that didn't go along with the the required belief system or the required actions. Then their capacity to get to their second house was being ripped out from under them. But this is saying, no, this is about a much bigger change, a much bigger evolution around a more inclusive way to have people be able to have the life that they want. So it's big. This has got a big energy around shifting something corrupt and too entrenched and manipulative to bring in something that's more heart-based. Okay, so it's pretty big, bit heavy, but I think that you are just enough detached from this that you can really do a great deal of good. So what I did want to end up with was something that was a little bit lighter and brighter, so I'm using the Boho Spirit Oracle. So I'd ask you to choose a number between 1 and 5 because depending upon which one you choose, that's a kind of hopefully lighter energy to synthesize the message for you. So number 1, the answers you seek are within. Number 2, help plant the seeds of success. Number 3, not seeing it clearly. Okay. Number 4, dive deep within. And number 5, careful who you trust. Okay. So it's kind of different. Some it's still a little bit tricky. So if you chose number 1, then you have a very strong psychic sense of this. Look within for the symbols and what matters to you and all of those sort of things. You'll find what you need to find. And if you are feeling, am I inadequate? What do I build? Look within. You'll have the answers there. If you chose number 2, This is planting the seeds for an alternative. Because as I say, this is a system or a structure or a group or whatever that kind of needs to collapse under its own corruption. But like it's like you have to almost have planted seeds for something new to grow. That will help with this. And because you're a little bit detached from it, you're a little bit separate, you can do that maybe. If you chose number 3, there's something still that you're not seeing clearly. Even with this, there's something still that's not quite clear. I would just say wait and listen and watch. There's more information to come out. If you chose number 4, dive deep within, it's a bit similar to number 1. The answers are within. Your emotional attunement, your discernment is spot on. If you chose number 5, be careful who you trust. I don't think it's saying that this is a false victim situation, but it may be that there are some that try and make out that they would be friends to help with this, but they are actually caught in the web themselves. So trust but verify is what I would say. So I hope that that resonates for you. I hope that it's helpful. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.